Hi everybody, Ryan here again with Berserk Custom Paint, and today's video I am going to make it up as I go. This video is going to actually I'm trying to teach you not only how to do something, but also how to make things up, be creative, because I've never done this before. So as you see me doing it, I'm going to just be dreaming it up. So my buddy has this welding hood, which I thought looked like the Mark I from Iron Man mask. So I decided I'm going to paint this welding hood to look like that Mark I mask from the Iron Man movies. One of the things I'm going to try to do is give it realistic looking beaded welds in some sort of pattern. Open the mouth up, that sort of thing, just like you see on the Iron Man. It's also got this fiberglass texture because it was made out of a fiberglass mold. I think I'm going to leave that in. Normally on things like helmets and hoods, I'd probably want to prime it, sand that texture out of it. But I think that texture might give it more of an industrial look. When I go to put my silver on, the metallics will dance on that texture and it'll look really cool. So I'm going to leave that texture in there. I'm just going to scuff it up and clean it real good so the paint will stick. I've decided that I'm going to use a lightweight Bondo to create three-dimensional beaded welds. So you're going to see how I'm going to do that. First thing you need to do is, when you're putting Bondo on something like this, you can't have thick Bondo because thick Bondo will crack over time. If you know anything about body work, you should know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off my pattern. I'm going to use a rotary tool or possibly just some 80 grit sandpaper, fold it in half, and scratch, because you need something for that Bondo to bite onto so it'll stay. So everywhere that Bondo is going to be to create those beads, I'm going to scratch it up real good so the Bondo has something to bite onto. So enough with the lecture. Let's see how it goes. Alright, first thing I'm doing is I'm using red Scotch-Brite to rough up the surface of this welding hood. The reason I am using red Scotch-Brite, if you know anything about painting and the mechanics of it, paint needs something to bite onto. I couldn't just paint right on top of the smooth surface because one, it's dirty, and two, it's non-porous. There's no scratches, there's no little nooks and things for the paint to seep into and grab and bite on, creating a mechanical bond for the paint. I'm going to be sealing this, and then I'm going to chase it with some silver paint. So I really need it to be good and scratched up. This is the red Scotch-Brite. There's also a lighter weight Scotch-Brite, which is the gray colored Scotch-Brite. You really want it to have a coarse bite. So I like to use something more aggressive, which is the red Scotch-Brite. Alright, now I finished Scotch-Briting it. Now what I'm doing is I just got through cleaning it with soap and water. I wiped that off, and now I'm using a wax and grease remover to clean my surface real good, make sure there's no grease or whatever. Alright, so I have the lines taped off that I'm going to be using as my guidelines for when I throw the welds in there with the Bondo. So, let's go. Make sure if you're using a cutoff wheel, don't cut through it. I'm just scoring it. That's all I'm doing. Just barely scuffing up the surface. Alright, I sanded it. I actually ended up using 320 when all was said and done to sand it with, just because that 600 wasn't cutting it. I'm going to try to take some 800 now, or not 800, but 80 grit, and I'm going to try to scratch up and down like that to give it a machined metal look. I think maybe it'll make it look a little more like sheet metal. When those metallics fall into those scratches, I never would recommend to do this on a car, but when the metallics fall into those scratches, you'll be able to see them, and it'll look more, like it's machined or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and scratch that, and we'll move on. Okay, so I got my body filler here. I want to test because I'm going to end up putting it in a bottle to squirt it on there to make the welds. So I'm going to test how fast they're going to dry. So I'm going to make 3 different things and see how long it takes. One with nearly no hardener in it. So there's too much hardener. I'm just going to get about that much hardener and see how long it takes to dry. I'm looking for the color because the color of it is what's going to tell you how much hardener is in it. So I'll know how much hardener to use. The lighter the color, the less hardener. The bluer the color, the more hardener. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes now. Here's the one that I had more hardener in, and it's pretty solid. It started setting up at around 10 minutes. So that's your workability time with that one. This one is kind of hard. It's still pretty soft. It's scary. I don't know if it's going to get totally hard in the future. Maybe we didn't put enough hardener in there. And this one, a little spongy too. As you can see, I can just peel it away and it's still real soft. And that's after about 20 minutes. It's kind of scary to me. I don't know if that'll ever harden completely. But this one, on the other hand, hard as a rock. See, it's even breaking my stick to poke at it. So I think I'm going to go with this one. That means I have 10 minutes of workability. So at every 10 minutes I have to stop, clean out my bottle because I'm going to be squirting it out of a bottle. Stop, clean out my bottle, start again. I have 10 minutes at a time. Okay, it's good and mixed up. Get it real good, mix it real good. Make sure you got one solid color. Now I have 10 minutes to do what I can. Now I'm not trying to make a straight bead, I'm trying to make it look a little cruddy because not everybody can make perfect beads, and even if you can, there's probably cooler on this to make them look a little cruddy. Okay, that's what I came up with for my little faux welds. As you can see, since this is something I'm just making up on the fly, making it up as I go, this is a different Bondo than I used on the other side. This is that skim coat Bondo. It goes down a little too smooth. It's a little more smooth than I liked it, so I went ahead and went with the full weight Bondo. And as you can see, the further I got along with it, the more I got to figure out how to make it look like welds. Here, I think I did a pretty good job. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put silver on here. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to add black to my silver on different layers and try to fog it up so it looks like a little more machined metal. And then I'm going to use a little bit of blue and root beer and some blue candy to make burns around the welds after I get the silver on there. You'll see me do that later. As you can see, I got my black so over reduced that if I purposefully skate the paint, it'll look like burns. See? See how it looks like a burn? I just made that up like just right now. Now I'm adding these little burn marks. So I'm trying to, like that. So it looks like it burned up a little bit. Alright, so I made a burnt orange, and I like very, very over reduced it. So I'm going to make a, if you look at Welds, they have these burn colors where it goes blue into orange into like a foggy, hazy yellow. I'm going to start with that orange and see what I can get. Okay, now I've got some Oriental blue that I've over-reduced because I want it to be kind of watery to give it a halo effect. So I'm going to go in between the brown and the bead that I made and spray that Oriental blue in there. Alright, now I've got pagan gold candy in here that I'm going to go around these top edges on the other side of the brown. It's very over-reduced because that gold is so subtle. So, let's see how it works. Let's test it first. There it is. Alright, cool. I'm just going to finish out this helmet and... Alright, off camera, I actually, before I started all this, I beveled out the mouthpiece with a grinder so it would have a three-dimensional look. So, and you can hear the guy who I'm making this helmet for, you can hear him in the background. He's making me a motorcycle stand right now for my tanks and my fenders. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and black this out, and I think this helmet will be done. One of a kind right there.
Iron Man, baby.
I know you guys are going to want a copy, and I encourage you to. If you like my idea, see what you can do with it. This is the very first version. So play with it, see if you can make it better. I know I will. So thanks for watching, guys.